I have a question.
Please.
So the same people who failed to implement the agenda in their manifestos are the same people that we are expecting to implement the BBI report that is going to give us gains. Ama kuna different people who are coming to do the implementation, because I don't understand. There is no Holy Spirit for being a good wife and Holy Spirit for being a good employer or employee. It's the one Holy Spirit.
Yes.
So when you failed to implement that which you took to the people ukiomba kura, how then do we trust that you're going to implement this? And here's the thing. How many years has Raila Odinga been in politics? How many years has Uhuru Kenyatta been in politics? How many years has William Ruto been in politics? How many years has Charity Ngilu been in politics? Kalonzo Musyoka, Musalia Mudavadi, Moses Wetangula. How long have these people been in politics? I'll tell you how long.
Let me say
it has
this.
been
Let
more,
me say this.
No, wait, I finish. It has been more than 25 years since all these people got into politics. Now let's talk pure policies and implementation of policies.
Well, let me ask you a question. Let me ask you a question before you proceed. Are you trying to say that if they've been in politics more than 25 years, now that makes makes their suggestions irrelevant?
No, that's not what I'm trying to say.
Nullifies their contributions?
If you wait, I finish my statement, you'll understand what I'm trying to say.
Okay.
Now, in the 1960s and 50s,
yes,
Taiwan, Singapore, China, Hong Kong, and Kenya were at par. 25 years, 30 years later, look at where Taiwan is, look at where Singapore is, look at where Hong Kong is, look at where South Korea is, look at where China is, and then look at where Kenya is. So where is the goodwill to implement anything that actually moved this country forward when you've been in that space for over 20 years? The time that it has taken other people to transform their economies from low income to high income, yet for you, it has only taken you that long to enrich yourself and your family and to ensure that generations and generations in your lineage will never lack.
Yes. No, let me say this. Ndugubi talk. You know, it is easy to make generalized claims without going into the specifics and interrogating issues. And I think that is where my sister gets it so wrong. Awfully wrong. Awfully wrong because, for instance, she talks about the Asian tigers. Right? These Asian tigers, by the time we were closely getting into the new century, in early 2000, 2001, 2002, 2003, the Taiwanese economy was 40 times bigger than Kenyan economy. Right? Today, as we speak, we've made progress. We've cut that divide between us and Taiwan by half. Right? But that does not mean that we are on the right track entirely. Still, there are things that can be made better. One thing I would tell you that this government has gotten wrong, right? And the Jubilee 1 and Jubilee 2 because the Jubilee 2 is trying to firefight the mistakes of Jubilee 1, right?
And Zubinasa.
If you call it so. It is not proper and it is not just in a country that prides itself in the League of Nations, right? To have its young people sink in debt because they are pursuing education. So that as a government that is self-respecting must make sure that its young people who are willing to learn and willing to work are able to access that education, access that training, and when they've accessed that training, that they're able to work without necessarily sinking into debt.
All right. Easy. Hello.
So
okay. Hello. Good morning.
Bishop.
Yes.
Morning. How are you?
Fine, sir. How are you?
Fine. Maxwell here. Now, the problem I have is I don't know what is the disability in being a young leader. Because I find young leaders being disabled in their mind, that we don't have independent minds. What my friend Kidi and the man Kidi is just talking a lot of no sense at all in regard to the BBI. Because I think it's enough for him to go and read, understand, and then he makes decisions. Let's stop following people because they have said it is good. So we end up singing the songs of Raila and Uhuru just because we fear for our life. Then, Kidi, you are young. Think like a young person. Think ahead. Stop being disabled in the mind just because you want to look good in front of people. I love Lucia because she uses very hard words, yes, but I think she makes sense out of everything. Yeah? So I think it is time that we need to wake up and say, let's call it as it is. If it is bad, let's say it is bad. If it is good, let's say it is good, not because someone has said. I'm afraid that young people are becoming sick and stickier, if there's any English word like that, FJ. Because of our political alignment. We are aligning ourselves with people with no ideas at all. Kidi Mwaga has no idea. He doesn't know what is going on. But you find ourselves, we are just aligning there. We are just singing a song of Kidi Mwaga. This guy doesn't have his own mind. And you have a brilliant lawyer or Kidi, as he said, or whatever he is, thinking just like Gideon Moy, and he has a very brilliant mind. My friend, spend your time wisely in this world and you make a difference. Let's stop singing some choruses we don't know. Thank you.
Let me respond to that.
Okay, respond to him. He's still on the line.
And my brother, how are you?
Maxwell, I think he's left. Anyway,
He's
respond to him.
left.
He should be listening, yeah.
One mistake that a lot of young people are making is that they think that if they disagree with a specific leader, then everyone else who works with that person or is...
Let's pick this then. Just a minute. Hello. Let's pick 3 calls then. All right. Good morning.
Yes, Gerald.
Yeah, nazungumza na nani?
This is Meshach.
Yes, Meshach.
2 quick things.
Yes.
I would love to hear which part of the Constitution has not been implemented, because this thing is said a lot. And Lucia even says we have only implemented 25%. And you know, when people listen to something like this, they think you know it all. Is it really true that only 25% of our Constitution 2010 has been implemented? That is one I would love to actually discuss that in detail.
All right, thank you.
Kenyans can actually make judgment and say, yeah, for sure, it looks like 25% is the only one that has been implemented. That is one. The second one, I don't think the gentleman who has just called is right to say that if you support any other party apart from William Ruto, then you're not using your brain.
He didn't mention William Ruto, actually. You are the one who has mentioned William Ruto.
No, he doesn't have to mention. We like William says, wajinga ni wachache. So we can also share. Yeah, it doesn't have to be that you think like him to make you, now a better person. I don't think that is what we want. I think we want to deal with issues. Himself might be supporting one of these guys. And if he is not supporting one of these guys, then he should be one of them and tell us, follow me, and you will be using your brain well. You even God called the other guys out of Babylon to somewhere, not out of Babylon and then to nowhere. Yeah? So he should tell us out of Babylon to where. Then the last thing,
yes.
My sister and friend, Lucia, if you want to go to Kakamega, and hauna fare, hauna meal, and I'm willing to drop you in Kisumu, I'm now talking about the help moratorium. If you want to go to Kakamega and I'm willing to drop you in Kisumu, and you don't have anything completely, would you say that is so bad? Because after all, I'm going to Kakamega. If you're saying the minimum years somebody would stomach in Kenya is 6 or 7 years, and the government is willing to give 4 years where you don't pay this health loan.
All right, so it is better, I'm afraid. All right, good morning. Good morning.
Good morning.
How are you, sir?
I am doing okay.
Talk to us.
Bwana Gerald.
Yes, I can see you're calling all the way from Alabama.
Yes.
Okay, talk to us, sir.
So I just have a couple of comments to make. First of all, I applaud Kidi for his gusto to go back to KANU and try to fix it. Kudos to you. But I just want to correct him a few things that I like making corrections where necessary. He's made a statement that really stuck with me that we need to fix our politics. We don't need to fix our politics. We need to build institutional systems that will work no matter who is in power. If you have then this. All these other noise of everybody else.
You'll respond. Just let him say.
My brother.
Yes.
Yes,
all right. So now, just I have a couple of points. If you don't mind, then I can let you respond.
Okay.
Now, based on, I try to read the BBI, coming to the BBI, and I will tie it down to whatever else I'm talking about. I try to read through the document, the first few pages of the document. I go to page 17 because of projects and everything else. I could finish it. But there's one thing that stuck out to me. And I'm going to state it, and then I will give examples of why this should be tied to it. The statement I want to make is the rule of law. And I will give you examples. When you come to allocation of funds, things that stuck out with me. Remember the example of Ile wheelbarrow carcinogenic. Somebody spending almost 200,000 to buy a wheelbarrow 5,000. You go to my governor from where I come from, my parents come from where I know is my original home, who built a gate for several millions, while we know the gate is only for 50,000. Now come to the current, the last case that we had with the governor who was supposed to be impeached but was not impeached. But something that came clearly out was that there was a lot of misappropriation of funds. So why do we want to give these counties more money when these people are just simply squandering the money?
Okay.
The Senate is not doing their duty of overseeing the counties. People get away with stealing money, but then we don't even follow the rule of law. Now, he talks about the judiciary and appointing someone to look at the judiciary. We don't need an ombudsman to oversee the judiciary. There is a process called impeachment. We need to strengthen the process of reporting these judges. And I agree with him, judges, and I know examples of judges who have been bribed to rule on cases that were clearly supposed to go to the other side. So we need to follow the rule of law. At the end of the day, if we do that, we will be better off than what we are now.
All right.
Now, speaking to my sister, just give me one moment. Just, I have to mention everybody else. So speaking to my sister Lucia, I applaud you with your statements. I applaud your stand. And the people who are saying you're insulting, insulting is when you demean somebody's stature based on statements that are not factual. But shaming a leader to do the right thing is not insulting. It's actually acknowledging that this person can do better than what they're doing.
Okay.
So whoever is saying you're insulting somebody, they have no idea what an insult is.
Wow.
They may need to go and find out a little bit more.
All right. What are we speaking to?
This is Joel Aram.
Arama. Thank you, sir.
Yes, sir.
Asante, Sarah. You still have someone else to mention. You have not mentioned me.
Oh, when I talk.
Yes, sir.
When I talk, first of all, I appreciate your program. Every now and then I try to catch it. But saa zingine usingizi inanibeba ninalala.
Naelewa ndugu yangu.
Please, but I appreciate your statements. I appreciate your program. Sometimes I feel like you kind of lean a little bit kwa side moja, but it's your show, so I'll let you run where you want. So, but it's good to have this other option, because one of the things that disappoints me with our media,
yes,
and going back, because I follow, Kenya is my country, no matter where I am. Kenya will always be my country. That's my home, no matter where I am.
Okay.
So I really follow closely events that happen in Kenya and what is going on, and some things make me very thankful.
All right.
One thing that I appreciate with you is you don't hold back when you are talking about issues that face our country and our fellow Kenyans.
I really appreciate that.
One of the things that I might want you to ask one time, I remember in the run-up to the last election.
Yes.
and allow me to call him your good friend. He may not be, but I'll call him your good friend, Senator Mukome, made a statement that made me almost throw my remote to my mouse to my laptop. That was very ignorant. I will say that. He said that politicians sacrifice the most. But to me, and he was, you know, he was being interviewed on national media. They were having a discussion, and the person in charge, Larry Mato, just said that slide. To me, the people who have made the most sacrifice are our soldiers who are fighting in Somalia, who have died with no facilities, of money being sent to support them. The politicians are eating that money, and unatuma mtu kupigana vita, amevaa slippers, and they don't have the proper gear to go fighting. They are putting on slippers. Kazi ya majenerals ni kutafuta makaa Somalia, wanakuja kuuza Kenya. So those are the things that you are giving an alternative to this, what we call mainstream media, that all they do is just generate headlines. That's all.
Okay.
They have no substance. They don't speak to the issue that Kenyans face. So I appreciate you for that. And when my brother comes back, Bwana Dino Juan, msalimia sana.
Sawa ndugu yangu, thank you.
Yeah.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning to you, sir.
I'm very glad for your program.
I really appreciate it. Who am I speaking to?
Martin.
Martin, thank you so much, Martin, for appreciating us.
I want to talk to the Kenyan youth today, especially those that are listening to your program. I'm really in support of what Lucia is saying. And for me, I think, to me, the entire document, the BBI document, is purely rubbish. Yeah. It doesn't address the issues that are facing the Kenyan youth. It doesn't address how we are going to create employment. It doesn't address the issues of how the Kenyan youth that are going through the university, the TVET, and the technical institutions are going to end up after they finish their program. When you look at the 7-year tax break, you kind of wonder where the Kenyan youth going to get the capital to start the business, considering the fact that they don't have jobs. For me personally, when you look at the health issue, I think it should be a grant. If you look at the total amount of money that the Kenyan youth or people who have gone through campus or the health, it's not more than 10 billion Kenyan shillings. And then you want to use the 14 billion to pass a document that doesn't really address the issues that are facing us as a country, you know. We just have carrots which are being dangled to the youth, and it's unfortunate that up to this point we don't have really strong, energetic Kenyan youth who can really speak up and say, like, you know what, I think we really need to sit down and start addressing really the main issues. And we stop the shenanigans that are happening. We really don't want to invest in like the basic things. When you look at the agricultural industry, which is the backbone of the country, it's at the verge of collapse. When you look at the sugar industry, the maize industry, the coffee industry, the tea industry, the horticultural industry, you'll be saddened. And now we are here running around like, oh, BBI is going to solve the issues that are affecting this country. It's just insane. And I think it's about time, like, we really sit down and really ask our leaders. And I think that idea of forgive everyone who is in government, I think it should come to fulfill come 2022. Because what is happening as a country, we're just going backward. After every 5 years, we make 5 years steps backward. And I don't know, but you know, every Kenyan user who is speaking, they're like paid, they're bought mouthpieces. So they're the ones that are claiming that they want to address the youth affairs, and all in all, they have just been sent some few shillings on their M-Pesa account, and they call the media and they say, you as Kenyan youth, we want to support the PPI. It's just insane. And I really think that we need very strong, vocal, young leaders like Lucia, who are able to call bullshit straight in their face.
Okay.
And you find that these are the people that are not getting the platform. And we really appreciate a platform like this one, whereby things are being spoken and there is no fear or favor to any political inclination. And personally, for me, I think the entire document should be. I know they want to have us versus them, but for me personally, if that is going to be the case, then I think probably everybody should be on the north side.
Okay.
Because this one is just a self-preservation document whereby Uhuru is thinking of who is going to take care of my interests after 2022.
All right.
Yeah.
Asante sana Ndigango. Thank you so much for your comment.
Yeah.
Thank you. Have a good day.
You too.
All right, thank you, bro. All right, there's someone who has been called. Sorry, I've missed your call. There's someone who has really called in severally. A number starting from plus 39 371. If your number is starting from plus 39 and then it's followed by 371, I think it's an international line. Sorry, I missed almost 6 of your missed calls. But as I'm waiting for your call, I'll pick your call for that reason. But I'm waiting for your call. I want to read a comment. People have said I read a comment here by Weki Assessor, and it says it's long, so I'll read very quickly. A 31-year-old Fort Science graduate left Kenya to work in Bahrain 1 year after graduation. He learned the added value of preserving food through electrical and solar desiccation and purchased electric food slicer and kiln machines before the expiry of his contract and returned to Kenya. He was born in a very productive county where a lot of food goes to waste. In April 2017, he contracted farmers to grow organic sweet potatoes, pumpkins, yams, and plantains for him. He registered a business and set up in a small processing unit at his parents' home in Kajiado County, adjacent to Nairobi. He sold his idea to a UN agency which supports MDG youth initiatives, and they gave him a US dollars 2,200 grant. County and public health officials told him that he couldn't run a factory plant in a residential area, and he was forced to relocate his small plant to a rented premise, incurring further cost. Besides county public health, NEMA, KEBS, NCA approval and license fees. He commenced operations in September 2017, but when his products hit the market, he was visited by KEBS and NEMA and some ministry officials who claimed that his packaging was not compliant with their rules. He was advised and wrote letters to the 3 entities. 2 replied, but 1 did not and has never replied. He changed his mode of packaging to include product serialization, batching, and identification for easy source and quality tracking. In mid-2019, he attempted to export some of his products to friends in Bahrain, but customs authorities told him that the semi-processed food items required approvals from 2 other institutions. He abandoned the idea, however, in October 2019. He was visited by fellows from the government agency. We did not respond to his letters. They stopped operations and sealed his premises. He went to court and got an order for the opening of his premises. A month later, fellows from a different agency went to the premises and cut away his machines and equipment. He later learned that the 2 agencies were in cohorts, broke and facing eviction by the landlord and hostility from unpaid farmers. PO abandoned his food processing business and went up country. He is now but a border rider and has zero desire to ever start another business in Kenya. Another notorious agency is now demanding taxes from him after participating in the closure of his business. PO is angry and says that he has no desire or energy to engage the clueless bureaucrat. They can auction him and his machines if they so wish. I don't know if you ever had another sad story than this as a young person.
There are sad stories and Ugubi talk because especially for startups. And that is just one of them. There is another lady who was bottling water, drinking water, and then her enterprise went under. The existing climate environment does not promote entrepreneurship, especially by young people. That is something that needs to be amended, to be restructured. But then change does not come overnight. Change is incremental. And that is why some of us are saying that the 7 years tax holiday suggested in the BBI report is a step in the direction. But that is not all. I must also say that some of the people who are opposing BBI are people who have been in government. right? And there are people who have used their positions in government to do nothing but to line their pockets, right? And now, when they are coming out to oppose BBI with the Wilbaronomics, they are doing nothing but self-preservation, right? So equally them, we must call them out so that if and when they want to come out, they must first own up for their failures while they were in government. They're still in government anyway. Yes.
All right. That is going to answer. Hello, good morning.
Hello.
Yes, how are you?
Hi, Mr. Vitok. How you doing?
Fine, thank you.
Victoria here.
Victoria, how are you?
I'm well, thank you.
Victoria, how are you?
Lucia and Wakili, good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm well, thank you. Now,
Yes.
on what the subject of discussion is, if you look at the issue of health,
Yes.
and then you look at these people who today carry saying we are refunding flour farmers 10 billion shillings. These are things, when it comes to them, when it comes to the who is who, these are not things that need legislation. These are things they make decisions and do.
Yes.
So you see an instance where KRA is refunding flour farmers who we know are a majority of Europeans and the deep state being refunded 10 billion. But where are our milk farmers? Where are the farmers that contribute to the food basket in this country? Who is thinking about them? But when it comes to a matter of health, something that they can write off as a bad debt, as Lucia is saying, they want to give us marupurupu vitu kidogo kidogo and then put it in a document and say, oh, we need to change the constitution because of something that can be passed by legislation. Why don't they need to change the constitution on an issue of 10 billion? Refund to the who is who, or to an industry that does not serve the food basket of this country. So we as Kenyans need to start thinking for Kenyans. We need to stop looking at these individuals. We need to stop looking at what is interesting them. Hello?
I can hear you.
And speak for Kenyans. The very future of this country depends on that. Yes.
All right. Thank you so much, Vicky.
Vicky,
Yep.
before you go away, we must first agree that a good idea gives way to a better idea.
You know, Wakili,
Yes.
you cannot start saying that, oh, things take time. We are talking about a country that is 60 plus years old.
Yes.
The other day, there was an issue of someone who was manufacturing tomato sauce.
Yes.
And I think there was a regulatory body that was all over him saying, oh, this tomato sauce does not have any tomatoes in it. And we were telling them, go and show us the tomato sauce, any tomato sauce in the supermarkets. Go and show us any tomato sauce that has tomatoes in it. There's none.
Or mango
Even
juice
the
with
one
mangoes.
that is being imported from America
Yes.
is made using cornstarch, food coloring, and flavor.
Yes.
None of them has a tomato. But when a Kenyan entrepreneur tries to get into the country, this is the bureaucracy that kills them.
Yes.
Vicky,
When they are importing the same thing.
Vicky, Wakili here keeps saying it takes time. I have just pointed out that we've had politicians in politics for over 2 decades. They should have started implementing these things 25 years ago. They never did. So why are we still saying that it takes time when we can clearly see it's just the lack of goodwill? There's nothing else but the lack of goodwill. I agree, it takes time. If we had started 25 years ago, Akili, we will be far. We will be so far.
Yeah, we need to see, I think we need to see some sort of progress.
Yes. So,
we
Madam
need
Vicky,
to say that X years ago we were at step 1,
yes,
and now we are at step 8,
yes,
because we've done 1, 2, 3, 4 things.
yes.
Yeah.
All right.
I hear you. I will make a proper response. Yes, afterwards.
All right. Thank you so much, Vicky.
Yes.
Asante.
All right, thank you.
Thank you so much for tuning in and have a good day. And we need to catch coffee, by the way. It's been, I've never seen you in many years.
I also drink coffee.
Asante sana. Thank you so much, Vicky. Have a great day. All right. Umesikia mambo ya wananchi.
There's something Meshach said that I want to respond to. Actually, there's two things that I want to respond to real quick. Meshach said that concerning the HELB moratorium, if I was going to Kakamega and someone can drop me at Kisumu, I'd go like, hey, yo, thanks, man. I really appreciate it. You've made my journey a bit easier. But then, why is it that we always have to accept the basic minimum?
Well, but this has been taken to Bungoma.
Yeah, exactly. Why can't we demand better? And this is what I'm saying, Meshach. A 4-year HELB loan moratorium is not bad, but I know, I'm 100% sure that we can do better, and I am demanding better for I and for my peers and for generations to come. I refuse to accept basic minimum mediocrity. The other thing, now, I'm not one to mince my words. If you want me to mince my words, then I would rather not come to the tackle. I think it's about time that we said truth the way truth should be said. It's time for some nakedness, and naked truth is what I'm talking about. And if it is stupid, I will call it stupid. I will call it by any other suitable name that it is, because there's a lot of stupidity that is going on in this country. I refuse to be a pacifist when my country is bleeding and my people are dying because of the arrogance, ignorance, and stupidity of a select few. So it's either you just mute me when I talk or don't listen in at all, because I'm not about to stop calling it the way it is.
All right, as you pick it up, Wakili, as well. Unaona shida ya vijana ni HELB ama ni kazi. Because if these guys could be given jobs, they could pay the HELB on themselves. What's stopping the government from creating jobs?
You know, truth is,
yes,
is that the government, we must say this, has not made necessary investments in the past to make sure that our young people find opportunities for themselves. For instance, you know, state sector jobs cannot employ the young people of this country, especially in the era of Kibakinomics, where we had, you know, expanded access to higher education, and more graduates were coming out. We are told that we release about 2 million graduates every year into the job market. But the government has not made necessary investment to make sure that these graduates land opportunities immediately. In the Jubilee first term, where William Ruto was the deputy president, we had a number of, you know, farms fleeing this market and going into other polities like Uganda and Ethiopia and whatnot, right? So that, one, we need to make sure that we create employment for our young people.
Okay.
That cannot be solved in a single stroke, but then it must start somewhere. That first, let us, those who can, for instance, start businesses. Well, let's say the BBI provides that they will have a tax holiday, but it must not stop there. When the BBI passes or not, Parliament as a legislative body and the cabinet must go ahead and make policy deliberations that will ensure that a young person who wants to start business can start business, can sustain that business. Yes.
Okay. Well, at it, can you please give us your tackle of the day to Kifunga?
My tackle of the day, wacha nipatie my sister alafu nitarudi.
Ukijua tackle ni nini. All right. Lucia, anasema nataka kujua kwanza tackle ni nini. Yes, I know, understand. And we are happy to have you.
My tackle of the day today. It's time that Kenyans became angry. It's time that Kenyans became aggressive in demanding good governance and accountability. Personally, Gerald, nimechoka. Leo asubuhi, I couldn't leave my estate in peace because when Outer Ring Road was built, people messed up with the drainage. So when it rains, now my estate floods, something that never used to happen before. So that if that is not stupidity, I don't know what it is, because there's a flood management parastatal. There's a Ministry of Water. There's a Ministry of Sanitation. There's Nairobi Water and Sewer. There's all these institutions, and people are not doing their job, and that is utterly stupid. So don't expect me to come here and say, oh, I know government has challenges, that is why we are flooding, that is why it is raining so heavily and we don't have water. Ni ujinga na ni ushenzi, and it is time we got angry enough to demand better, because we deserve better. We work so hard on a daily basis to pay taxes that are going to pay salaries for people who do not do their jobs. Wakenya, acheni kulala, please. It is time we wake up. It is time we call a spade a spade. Maneno ya kuita spade big spoon, tuliachia watu wa KANU pengine. We are done. We are done with that regime. We are the generation that has no chills. We have zero chills, and we are going to demand what is rightfully ours in the strongest terms and words possible. If you have a problem with it, go and sleep.
Well, I must say that some of us were brought up and taught to be respectful, even in the moments when we disagree. And therefore, I will choose my words carefully, but that must never be misconstrued for weakness. In the famous words of Martin Luther King Jr., in his speech, Why I Am Opposed to the War in Vietnam, he says that before the crown we wear, there is a cross we must bear. Things have not gone entirely right with our governance. If anything, so much have gone wrong. So that if you look at the handshake and subsequent BBA process, in part it was an attempt to arrest some of those things that had gone wrong. But then it is not conclusive in and out of itself. We still have to make tough choices. We still have got to continue being vigilant, because democracy works better when the citizenry is vigilant. A vigilant citizenry is what keeps the elected leaders on their toes. When that is said, we are saying that as a government in waiting, Chama cha Baba na Mama KANU, we have made necessary investments to make sure that when we come to power in 2022, the young people of this country are ultimately may be able to smile. Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much, Wakili, for coming in. It's a pleasure to have you. This is your first time. You're always welcome to the taco. This is where things I say the way they are. This is where things I say the way they are. Because we don't trade with government. Yes. We don't do. We are here to speak the truth. Which is not being spoken in the mainstream media. So I hope you enjoyed your time here. We hope to see you again. Yes. There's something I saw yesterday. NMS has a lot of lorries.
Yes.
Ya maji fresh.
Yes.
Imeandikwa maji safi by Nairobi Metropolitan Services. Which one is cheaper between piping water and buying lorries?
I think piping water is cheaper.
Is cheaper.
Yes. So why are we having lorries moving around with clean water?
Again, stupidity of misplaced priorities.
It's called PR in our industry. So that was just an observation I made, and I was like, okay,
yes.
I saw they were lining up in traffic. They were in traffic moving it on, and I was asking myself, why? So a lorry, because government does not buy second-hand trucks, it buys new. So when you buy a new truck all the way with a tank, probably you're looking at 12 million for that truck from Isuzu, probably, whatever it is. How much does it cost to pipe water, which is already in Nairobi? Just getting the pipes, ensuring that there's always water, or maybe even harvesting rainwater.
I know there is the push and shove between the governor and the director general of the NMS.
A competition of PR.
Yes, a sibling rivalry of sorts. So that, for instance, I remember, was it the day before yesterday? Governor Sonko was crying that there is trash around pipeline. I hope that Governor Sonko first is able to appreciate that he was unable to do a good job. And secondly, the arrangement, which of course some of us opposed at the beginning, of having General Badi take over, but because General Badi is now the man in charge, I hope that he's able to combine efforts with General Badi so that they serve the people of Nairobi. Because elections come and go, but the people of Kenya will always be there, and they deserve the best.
So I think we should expect also some reasonable operation from Badi and NMS, so that it makes sense. I mean, it does not make sense to come and duplicate. Because Song was doing the same thing. Song was moving around with trucks.
Gerald,
why are we not getting a different strategy from NMS?
2 months, was it 2 months or a month after General was given the mandate to manage Nairobi County, he gave a statement and said, I've been wondering why taps in Nairobi County do not have water. Water is a very, very close issue to me. I've spoken about this countless number of times. I'm even about to start turn off Nairobi taps for Nairobi water. I think Sei will help me with this one. But he said, I've realized that a lot of the pipings have been blocked intentionally by cartels so that they can be able to sell water to people. So I was like, oh, here goes someone who has diagnosed the problem. Now, I expected him to say, we are now unblocking these pipes so that
and
water
are getting the cartels.
Yeah, and we are repairing where they are broken so that water can flow through the pipes into your taps. Oh my God, shock on me. Tanks zimejengwa ati water point, NMS water point, kidogo malori zinazunguka tao, nashindwa rada kwa nini gani. And this is where we go wrong in everything we do in this country. We diagnose the disease,
right, and give the solutions.
No, we start treating the symptom.
Right. Thank you so much guys for coming in. That was just an observation. Tafakari ya Taklas. Jiulize kwa nini kuna lori ya maji Nairobi na kuna maji kwenye tap. Hiyo maji inatoka wapi na kwa nini wasiweke hiyo maji kwa tap? Tafakari ya mlipaji wa nini ushuru. All right, we'll see you guys again tomorrow. Thank you so much for joining us for the discussion. And for the callers, pole kuna simu ambayo sijaweza kuchukua simu karibu 3. Poleni ya Honorable Trip Coast. Tumeshafunga story. Tukichukua simu tano I will be opening another conversation. So pleasure to have you. This is a tackle and the tackle ends now. See you tomorrow. Bye bye.